Hello, Damani Ranch. My name is Marley Baranka. I'm your assistant principal in charge of attendance, discipline, and special education. Today I'll be talking about item analysis and the way it relates to the PLC process. All departments are in a different place in their journey to perfect the PLC. And so departments that are just starting, start small and you'll work your way up. Elena Alt will be available all year to help you through this process. In 21-22 school year, PLC teams will be creating common assessments and then evaluating the results of those assessments is the item analysis that I am going to review today. We use this item analysis to answer two very important PLC questions. First, how will we know if each student has learned what we want them to learn? And to do that, we have common formative assessments. We check for understanding and use common summative assessments and analyze the results from these. What kind of assessments do we use in the classroom? There's several different kinds. I mean, you're walking around during your classroom while you're teaching and seeing what individual students are doing. You're doing those informal checks for understanding at that time. During a unit of instruction, you might have quizzes that you give throughout the course of the unit where you're checking and identifying exactly what skills students have mastered and their retention level. And then at the end of a unit, you might have a summative assessment, end of a semester, cumulative final, and then we have our kind of high stakes tests that the district or the state give. So those are some different assessments that we give. Let's say we're giving a quiz during the middle of a unit and we want to see how are our students doing. And we might look at something like this. Okay. This is one question from a quiz and several different students have done these questions. So I'm just going to give you a minute to look at that. Okay, I know you're probably all looking to see who was right and wrong. Well, students 1, 9, and 19 completed the question correctly. And so as a team, you would want to look at that and see, okay, what skills do student 1, 9, and 19 have that allowed them to complete those questions accurately? And so you might look for the way they organized or those kinds of things. But these are conversations we'll have in our PLC to identify what students are doing right and what skills they have to show them they're doing it right. Now, all the other students did the problem wrong. Let's look at just two of those students that did the questions incorrectly. Student 6 and student 12. Both of them look like they had organization of some type, but why did they do it wrong? Take a second right now and look at why you think those students, what did they do wrong? And how could you design possibly a mini lesson that would help them organize their work correctly so they could get the correct answer? And so once you have these items and you're talking about them in your PLC, having a form or it doesn't have to be this exact form, but having some kind of form that you can organize what students did right, so you can use those skills to help the students that did something wrong learn how to do it correctly. And so a tool like this form here, now you wouldn't have to use this one necessarily, but a tool like this form would help you kind of structure conversations in your PLCs about how do we take what we know from the item analysis and now transfer it over to instruction. And what is that going to look like in our class? And so these kinds of conversations are what are going to help us answer the two really important PLC questions. How do we respond when some students do not learn it or whatever our objective was or learning goal for that day? And how will we extend learning for the students who have learned it? And so this is kind of just a quick introduction, and you'll be going through the process with your department leaders or your PLC team leaders throughout the school year. Thank you.